You got a bee crawling on you.
A bee?
The second part of the Squid Game series begins with Sung's team struggling to pull the rope against the opposing team, fighting to avoid falling from the platform. This is one of the 6 games they must win, as losing means elimination. Sang realizes they are on the verge of defeat, so he takes 3 strategic steps forward, and Bing quickly adjusts to destabilize the opposing team before returning to pull the rope. Sung's team ultimately prevails, and the entire opposing team is eliminated. The team returns to the dormitory, catching their breath from the intense challenge. Player number 212 confronts the thug, criticizing him for betraying her, refusing to join her team, and treating her unfairly. This is because he knew from Doctor number 111 that the upcoming game was a tug of war. The doctor was secretly involved in an unauthorized operation in exchange for confidential information about upcoming games and additional privileges. Sung's team returns to their quarters, and the screen displays that only 40 players remain, with a prize pool of 41,600,000,000 won still in play. Player number 212 introduces herself to the team, revealing her name as Han-mi and expressing relief about joining them. With only half an hour left before the lights go out, they decide to build a makeshift barricade to ensure their safety while they rest. The thug approaches Sung-hun and warns him that his attempts to protect the team are futile. However, Sung-hun advises him to be mindful of his own allies, as deception can come from any direction. They assure the team that they will spend the night without any further conflicts. Meanwhile, Bella notices that the doctor is missing and recalls that he left for the restroom earlier. The doctor is actually in his secret hideout with his associates, engaged in unauthorized activities. One of them is positioned in the surveillance room to obscure their actions from the cameras. Officer Hwang, searching for his missing brother, has infiltrated their group and is secretly gathering intelligence. They fail to recognize him due to the mask concealing his identity. As the doctor continues his work, the thug in the dormitory remains restless, distrusting those around him. He keeps waiting for the doctor, who is supposedly in the restroom. Meanwhile, the doctor examines a lifeless body before him, while Hwang remains composed, observing until he confirms that the doctor is indeed part of a covert operation. Bella informs the doctor that the deceased individual only had 1 kidney. The doctor replies that this diminishes the value of the remaining organs and hands over what is left to Hwang in a concealed bag. Hwang discreetly navigates through a hidden passage leading to a water exit. One of the men with Hwang becomes suspicious and demands that he remove his mask. However, Hwang, anticipating trouble, secures a weapon and confronts the man, accusing him of being linked to his brother's disappearance. He reveals that he himself has only 1 kidney, as his brother once donated the other to him. However, the man insists that it was actually a woman who took his kidney, not a man. He adds that if Hwang seeks information on any player, he should search the leader's office, where he will find detailed records. Before the man can finish speaking, Hwang takes action against him. Meanwhile, the doctor attempts to flee his hideout and rushes to the game hall. A member of his group chases after him, pleading for him to return to his quarters, warning that their exposure could jeopardize them all. However, the leader suddenly appears behind them, swiftly addressing the situation to maintain order. The leader then initiates an investigation into the unauthorized activities, ultimately uncovering the secret passage where oxygen tanks were stored. Bella discovers a lifeless body floating in the water, while Betakor identifies an individual still alive but severely weakened. Since all oxygen tanks are accounted for, it confirms that no one successfully escaped the island. Meanwhile, Hwang gains access to the leader's quarters through the ventilation system. Inside, he discovers archives dating back to 1999, revealing that the Squid Game has been ongoing for decades. Hwang continues searching until he finds the 2020 records. He searches for his brother's name, but initially does not locate it. He then examines the list of past winners and realizes that only one person emerges victorious each year. He is stunned to discover that his brother participated in the 2015 game and won the grand prize. Confirming his suspicion, he checks the detailed player records and finds his brother's name listed among the champions. Meanwhile, the guards intensify their search for player number 29, who has gone missing from his quarters. However, they are unable to find him because he is actually concealed inside the leader's storage room. The fourth game is announced, and as the players proceed to the game hall, they come across 5 individuals who have faced consequences for violating the game's rules. This serves as a stern reminder that any deviation from the competition's integrity will be met with strict enforcement. The remaining participants enter the designated area, where they are required to form teams of 2. Sang pairs up with Ali, while Sung hesitates, unsure of whom to choose. Another player urges him to team up with him, pointing out that although there were initially 40 players, the recent developments have reduced the number to 39. This means that one individual will be left without a partner and consequently disqualified, most likely the elderly man. Considering this, Sung decides to pair up with the old man, leaving Hanmi as the only unpaired participant. All teams are led to a different section of the facility, and Hanmi is escorted away by the organizers. The remaining players are placed in an area resembling a small neighborhood. Each participant receives 10 marbles, and the only rule is that they must secure all of their partner's marbles, totaling 20, without resorting to force. They have just 30 minutes to complete the challenge. The teams begin devising various marble-based games, whether through strategic bets or guessing whether their partner's marble count is odd or even. However, the old man refuses to play and keeps wandering around the area. Sung insists that they must play or they will face elimination together. The old man responds that he is happy to play with him and calls him Jumbo, meaning his friend and partner in the game. They play the odd and even marbles game, and Sung loses 9 marbles. Meanwhile, Sang becomes nervous at the thought of losing and tells Ali that the game cannot possibly require the elimination of an entire team, and that only one person must be removed. He suggests they can both survive and continue the game with the other teams. The most important step now is to find weaker players who might struggle in the game. Sang advises Ali that it is not ideal to keep holding his marbles in his hand and suggests hanging them around his neck for safety. He then makes a cloth pouch for him to wear around his neck, but secretly switches Ali's marble bag with an identical bag filled with stones without him noticing. Meanwhile, Sung takes advantage of the old man's worsening memory to make him lose his marbles. Eventually, the old man is left with nothing and his fate is sealed. Sang then presents the marbles he took from Ali to the guards and exits the hall. As he leaves, Ali also exits, unaware of how he lost. When he opens his bag, he finds it filled with stones and realizes that Sang deceived him. Ali is then eliminated. Kang is playing against a girl, and after learning her story, the girl decides to give up her marbles so that Kang can win and return to her younger brother, who is in a care facility. Sung continues chasing after the old man, who eventually reaches a place that resembles his old house. He reminisces about his past and thanks Sung for playing with him. He then gives Sung his last marble, telling him that he is the best Jumbo he has played with in a long time. The old man is then eliminated, and the departed players are taken to the crematorium. Meanwhile, the leader becomes anxious because Hwang has not been caught yet. He quickly orders a search for him before the arrival of the important figures. The remaining players return to the dormitory, and Bella notices that Hanmi is still alive because she did not play. Since she never participated, the game organizers could not eliminate her without reason. The screen shows that only 17 players remain. The captain returns to his room and notices that his headphone cord is different from how he left it. Realizing that an intruder has been in his room, he begins searching the area himself. He reaches the warehouse, but before he can find anyone, he receives a phone call informing him that a body has been found on the shore of the island. He immediately heads there, unaware that Hwang is still hiding. Upon arriving at the beach, he discovers a deceased man with a police ID card. The name on the card is Hwang. the same person whose clothes Hwang had taken earlier. Hwang had placed the ID card in the deceased man's pocket and thrown the body overboard from the ship. 6 individuals wearing golden masks arrive and ask the captain to meet their host. However, the captain informs them that the host will not be able to join them due to an urgent situation. The most important thing, however, is that the games will continue as planned. Hwang, still in hiding in a ventilation shaft, listens to their conversation. He realizes that the Squid Game is an exclusive event for influential figures who watch everything from their homes, eagerly anticipating the final winner. The attendees are escorted to their designated seats to watch the next game. Meanwhile, Hwang manages to overpower a waiter, disguises himself in his clothes, and turns on his phone to record a video. Since the network is disconnected, he hides the device in his suit for safekeeping. The players are awakened by the tragic news that one of them has taken his own life after losing his wife in the marble game. This reduces the number of players to 16. The 5th game is then announced, and the remaining contestants move to the game hall, where 16 mannequins stand before them. Each player is instructed to choose a mannequin and take the number assigned to it. The attendees watch as the players choose their numbers. After most have selected middle numbers, the remaining players are informed that their assigned numbers represent the order in which they will participate in the next game. Sung and Peter contemplate whether to take the first or last number, knowing that the first player may face a significant disadvantage, while the last player might run out of time. All the other numbers are taken except for the first and the last. Sung hesitates in front of number 1 until player number 96 approaches him, explaining that he wants to take number 1 because he has always been last in life and now wants to be first. Sung agrees and gives him number 1 while taking number 16 for himself. The players then move to the hall for the 5th game. In front of them is a glass bridge that every player must cross. The bridge consists of large glass squares with 2 types of glass: reinforced glass that can bear a player's weight and regular glass that will cause a player to fall as soon as they step on it. The first player starts and falls on his second step. The second player comes and thinks they are stepping correctly, alternating between right and left, but they fall on their third step. The rest of the players start entering one after another. Sung realizes that eventually all the tiles in front of him will be revealed, but there is a problem. The game is consuming too much time, making progress slow. Player number 6 kneels to pray, wasting more time for those behind him, until someone argues with him. However, player number 6 pushes his opponent off the glass platform in front of him and continues running to the next platform. The players keep falling, one after another, until the thug reaches the front. He then announces to the player in front of him that he will not move a single step, challenging anyone who wants to pass him to do so themselves. This ensures his survival. Han-mi, unwilling to wait, pushes someone in front of her, causing them to fall. She is positioned right behind the thug, and at that moment, she tells him that she will go ahead of him. As soon as she steps beside him, she hugs him tightly and reminds him that she had promised never to leave him if he betrayed her. True to her word, she does not let go. She jumps off the platform, pulling him down with her, and they both fall. The number of players is now reduced to 4. One of them is a player who worked in a glass factory for 30 years and is able to distinguish the reinforced glass by observing how light refracts on it. However, as soon as the leader realizes this, he orders the lights to be turned off, forcing the player to rely solely on luck. At the same time, the captain receives a phone call informing him that one of the attendees has fainted in his room. This confirms his suspicion that the intruder is still on the island. The captain goes to the room, finds a trace at the ventilation opening, and sees Hwang escaping. Back in the game, time is running out. Desperate, Sang pushes the player in front of him onto a glass panel, breaking it and causing the player to fall. Finally, only Sung-sang and Kang manage to cross the bridge. As soon as time runs out, all the remaining glass panels in front of them shatter. Meanwhile, the captain orders a search for the intruder in the water and insists that he must be captured before escaping the island. The remaining players return to their bedroom, where there are now only 3 beds, matching their number. a masked person arrives and informs them that they have a surprise. They will leave after putting on the suits in front of them. It is revealed that Kang-gana was injured by a piece of glass during the explosion. Despite this, they are served luxurious meals. While they eat, Hwang is being pursued on the island. He tries to send videos and photos to his police chief, but he is cornered at the edge of a cliff. The commander approaches him, stating that Hwang's gun has only one bullet left. In desperation, Hwang shoots the commander in the shoulder. As the commander stumbles closer, he removes his mask, revealing that he is Hwang's brother. The commander urges Hwang to surrender, but Hwang refuses. His brother then tells him to shoot, but instead, Hwang is shot and falls from the cliff into the water, leading to a tragic end. After dinner, the players are each given a knife and return to their bedroom. Sung approaches Kang-gana and tells her that she looks injured. He assures her that he has not come to harm her and suggests that they form a team against Sang, as they can no longer trust him after what he did on the bridge. He asks her to promise that whoever survives the last game will take care of the other's family. However, before they can continue their conversation, she faints from blood loss. Sung, desperate for help, drags her to the gate and calls for the team to assist Kang-gana. But when the gate opens, he sees that Kang-gana has been placed inside a coffin. Sang had already acted against her. Now only 2 players remain, Sang and Sung. The 6th and final game begins, the Squid game. They draw lots to determine who will be the defender and who will be the attacker. Sung is assigned the role of the attacker, meaning he must enter the squid-shaped drawing, bypass the defender, and step on the squid's head to win. The defender, on the other hand, wins if he can push the attacker out of the drawing. If one of them is unable to continue, the game will end. Sung starts outside the drawing, hopping on one leg until he manages to enter. As Sang approaches him, Sung grabs sand from the ground and throws it into Sang's face, giving him an advantage. Now able to move on both feet, Sung advances quickly. Meanwhile, Sang justifies Kang-gana's elimination, stating that they could have voted to end the game, but since the majority had chosen to continue, he had to ensure that he would win and claim the prize money. Inside the drawing, the 2 engage in a fierce battle, each trying to outmaneuver the other. Eventually, they both drop their weapons, and the masked men silently watch. Sang manages to knock Sang to the ground, and just before stepping on the squid's head to win, he hesitates. Instead, he declares that he will not eliminate Sang, and offers to end the game together. However, before Sung can officially surrender, Sang takes a knife and turns it on himself. With his last breath, he asks Sung to take care of his mother. Sung wins the game, securing a prize of 45.6 billion won. For the first time, Sung speaks with the leader, who tells him that, to the game's organizers, everything is merely a competition for wealthy businessmen who place bets on players. Sung is then sedated and wakes up alone on a street. He finds a Visa card with the game's winnings deposited into his account. He checks his balance and confirms the money is there. Sung returns home and finds his mother unresponsive on the floor, having succumbed to her illness. A year passes, and he remains in a state of despair, refusing to spend any of his winnings, to the point that he even borrows money from a bank manager, who had wanted to meet him after noticing that a large amount of money remained untouched in his account. One day, as Sung sits by the beach, an old woman offers him a rose, insisting that he take it before it withers. He accepts it and discovers an envelope attached to it, containing an address and a note signed with a familiar alias, one that he and the old man from the game had agreed upon during their marble match. Following the address, Sung arrives at a hospital and finds the old man still alive, lying in bed. He learns that the old man was behind everything and questions why he was spared. The old man, unfazed, suggests they play one final game. He points to a man lying in the street, proposing that if the man remains there until midnight, he wins, but if someone helps him, Sung wins. Sung agrees, and as midnight nears, he argues with the old man about wealth, saying that both the rich and the poor are unhappy. Just before the clock strikes 12, the police arrive and help the man. Sung wins the bet, but the old man passes away in his bed. Sung later discovers that the old man was the host of the game and had only participated for entertainment. Sung cleans up his appearance and visits Kungana's brother at an orphanage. He entrusts the child to Sang's mother, leaving her a bag full of money to take care of both of them. Sung then books a flight to America to reunite with his daughter. However, at the train station, he spots the same man who had recruited him into the game. He tries to chase after him, but the man escapes onto a departing train. Realizing that the game is still ongoing, Sung changes his mind. Before boarding his plane, he calls the number on the game card and warns them that he will not let them continue. Ignoring their advice to move on and enjoy his money, he turns back, determined to put an end to the game once and for all. And this is how the series ends here. Thanks for watching this recap. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to comment below and tell me what movie or series you want me to recap next.